Action News, Delaware Valley's leading news program, with Gary Papa, Dave Roberts, and Jim Gardner.
The snow is over, but the cold is still here, and all over our area, people are trying to protect themselves against below-zero wind chills. Our winter weather continues to make life uncomfortable for millions of people in the tri-state area. Wednesday night, and the big story on Action News tonight is ice, then snow, and now the cold. Let's go right to Dave Roberts and AccuWeather for the very latest. David?
Well, Jim, it's hard to believe that winter does not officially arrive until Friday, but that is the case. Let's see what the call is from AccuWeather for tonight. The coldest yet coming. Windy and cold, 18 degrees, northwesterly winds 15 to 30 miles per hour. The wind chills anywhere from 0 to 10 below. At this hour, we are now 7 below 0. For tomorrow, any relief? Well, windy and cold, a high 34. Can you call that relief? Northwesterly winds 15 to 30 miles per hour. The wind chills 0 to 10 above. So the windy, very cold weather hangs on. Dangerous wind chills overnight. Jim?
Thank you, David. The frigid weather continues to cause something of a chaotic situation at Philadelphia International Airport. The airport may look calm from the point of view of Sky 6, but inside the U.S. Air Terminal, it has been mayhem all day. That's because the airline had to effectively shut down its Philadelphia operation. Action News reporter David Henry is now live from inside the terminal. And David, you've got the details.
Well, Jim, we've got some good news here right now. The lines that you see behind me are just a fraction of what they had been for the past couple of days. U.S. Air is operating now 60% of its flights out of Philadelphia International, which means that the usual holiday crush is compounded by the overflow of people booked on earlier flights. It has been a mess here for over 24 hours now.
I don't like it much, no. It's not very much fun.
It's been that kind of day, frustrating and exhausting. U.S. Air canceled 78 flights and others were delayed for hours. It was an airline desperately in need of planes and de-icing fluid. They ran out by midday, so the ice-covered planes sat idle at the gates, which meant no room for arrivals. So all arriving flights were canceled until 4 this afternoon.
I am very angry.
How do you really feel? Some have been stranded here since yesterday.
I've been here 24 hours. We only got 4 more to go.
Is this your vacation?
Yes, it is.
You really know how to have a good time.
I try to.
We've been here all day, and now hopefully we're going to get a flight out of here tomorrow.
The flights to Florida were especially hard hit. U.S. Air has no seats available for days, so they're bringing in empty planes like this one arriving from Chicago. For many, a ticket out of here was a precious commodity. What'd you do?
I'm going to Albuquerque.
And I'm going to Disney World, anywhere where it's sunny and warm right now. The tie-ups are unraveling a little bit here at the airport, although they have been compounded by factors out of U.S. Air's control, like the fact that they were pouring 3 times the normal amount of de-icing fluid onto the planes, and the fact that Logan Airport in Boston is closed, which ties up some flights out of Philadelphia. But things are slowly returning to normal, and they hope to have things running at 100% sometime tomorrow. This is David Henry reporting live from Philadelphia International. Jim?
Of course, David, I suppose this whole thing, can we bring David back? This whole thing begs the question, how does an airline run out of de-icing fluid in this kind of weather?
Well, this kind of weather is exactly why they ran out. It was persistently icy for so long that they were pouring 3 times the normal amount of icing fluid into every plane they had going out of here. Plus, they had other planes coming in that were diverted out of New York that landed here in Philadelphia that also had to be de-iced, so the volume of de-icing was far more than anybody could ever have expected.
David Henry reporting live from Philadelphia International. Thank you, David.
Okay.
The weather conditions contributed to a jumbo jet skidding off the runway at Kennedy Airport in New York. The 747 is owned by Tower Air, and the pilot had to abort takeoff late this morning. The plane, with 441 people on board, skidded off the runway and its nose gear collapsed. 7 people were injured, including 2 who were removed from the plane with their heads immobilized. Driving tonight is a good deal easier than it was last night. This is a live picture of the Schuylkill Expressway headed into Center City, Philadelphia. As you can see, traffic is moving at a normal pace. Roads like the Schuylkill have been plowed, and with all the salt and chemicals dumped on this roadway, the surface is now clear. We are also live on Route 309 at 63 in Horsham. Here, too, traffic is moving well. The rule of thumb seems to be that the main roads are in good shape tonight, but be careful on those secondary roads. They can be slippery and they can be icy. Just as AccuWeather predicted last night, we didn't get the big snowstorm that we expected earlier, but with a fresh layer of 1 to 2 inches on top of what we already had, today was certainly no picnic. From shoveling sidewalks in Center City, Philadelphia, to digging out cars on Main Street in Pottstown, to walking the dogs in Upper Southampton, to trying to get control of the car in Plymouth Township. It has been a day to be careful and not to push it. Action News reporter Nora Mushanek checked things out on both sides of the Delaware River in New Jersey and in Bucks County. This is what she found.
After taking a look at the roads in parts of Hunterdon County, which got up to a foot of snow in some sections, Charlie and Mary Lou Houchet of Lambertville decided this was the most sensible way to travel today.
Beats walking, more interesting, more fun. Yeah, get some exercise while you get around.
This Bucks County woman was getting enough exercise to prepare for a triathlon.
I am overwhelmed at this point. We've been shoveling our driveway so many times already, just to get in and out.
In Solebury Township, Bucks County, the heavy snowfall made the countryside look picture perfect. But with so much white stuff, snowplow drivers can't keep up.
For about 28 hours straight, I've been out plowing. Every time I think I got a beat, it snows about another 5 or 6 inches.
And a stiff wind that's been blowing all day has made the drifts even bigger. In these parts, the vehicle of choice seems to be anything with four-wheel drive. You need it to travel the side streets.
Some of them are okay, but most of them are bad. And if you don't have good tires on your car, forget it, because you can just spin around all over the place and not get anywhere.
That's if you can get anywhere. Digging out seems like an endless cycle.
People dug out, and then the plow comes back in and pushes all the snow that you just dug out right back in.
It's tough enough having to dig yourself out and deal with all of this snow, but imagine how miserable you'd be if today, with almost a foot of snow on the ground, was your moving day. It happened to a woman on Old York Road in New Hope. She wouldn't talk to us, she'd had it, but the movers who hauled everything across a carpet of cardboard were unfazed.
This is just like another day, another dollar, that's all.
Yeah, but a lot more hassle, right?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Sometimes when the snow hits hardest, you just have to sit back and go for the ride. I'm Nora Mushanek, Channel 6 Action News, Lambertville, New Jersey.
Clearly, when we said that areas north and west of the immediate Philadelphia area would get more snow, we meant it. This was the scene today in Allentown. Philadelphia may have gotten only an inch or two of snow overnight, but Allentown got clobbered with 10 inches. Most of it snow, but some of it messy sleet. It has been a tough job cleaning up today. In Pottsville, Schuylkill County, right in the heart of the Poconos, they got hit with almost 1.5 feet. Today marked the start of digging out of a major snowstorm here. And for the situation in Berks County, Action News reporter Florida Posterero checked out the situation in Reading today.
Residents in Reading, Pennsylvania had to dig deep to get out.
Real big job. Now all we got to do is get the snowblower going and good shape.
That's going to be a chore, but it's a lot easier chore with the snowblower than with the shovel.
This pre-winter temper tantrum from Mother Nature covered the city with 1 foot of snow. Although plenty of folks stayed home and cleared a path around their house, neither rain nor snow could keep these construction workers from building a house.
Got a job to do.
Get paid for it.
The snow was enough to make getting around an inconvenience, but it certainly didn't cripple the city of Reading. Stores were open and people were out doing their last-minute Christmas shopping. The city gave shoppers an early Christmas present. Traffic breezed through the downtown thanks to quick response from road crews. However, some sidewalks were still a mess. As for the kids,
well, goes too deep.
Schools were closed in Berks County.
Let's go.
Allowing father and son to bond while going downhill.
We'd love it. We're going to have a white Christmas. It'll be great for everyone.
We're going to have a white weekend. That's pretty much a guarantee. Unless there's a heat wave, the white stuff will be here when Santa arrives. I'm Flora Posterero, Channel 6 Action News, Reading.
And on the other side of the coin, northern Delaware fared better than areas to the north. The official measurement at the Newcastle County Airport, 2.5 inches of snow over the past 24 hours. The major roads in the Wilmington area have been salted and plowed. They are in good shape. Some of the side roads are posing more of a problem, but that is to be expected. Still to come on Action News tonight, Dave Roberts returning
with 2.5 inches of snow. Atlantic City at the airport, just about 1/3 of an inch. Wilmington picked up 1 inch, and the folks to the north in Reading picked up 13 inches. Now, keep in mind that winter begins this Friday at 3:17 in the morning on December 22nd. All last year, all last season, we picked up 9.8 inches of snow for the entire season. Winter has not started yet. Thus far this year, we have almost that amount, 9.3 inches of snow.
is...
And thousands left without power after a nor'easter blast through New England.
Today, numerous schools and businesses remained closed with more than a foot of snow on the ground in some areas.
We'll update you on the situation in the Northeast, plus a look ahead to the potential of wintry weather in the South. Coming up next on WeatherScope.
For a scope of coverage you won't find anywhere else, this is WeatherScope this afternoon.
Well, as people in the Northeast recover from yesterday's winter storm, residents across the South prepare for some wintry weather of their own. Thanks for joining us. I'm Sharon Resulton.
And I'm Mike Bono. Tuesday's nor'easter affected millions and continues to have a widespread impact today. At New York's Kennedy Airport, a Tower Airlines 747 jumbo jet skidded off the runway today when the pilot aborted the flight during takeoff. None of the 441 passengers aboard reported injuries. A Tower spokesman suspected the cause was an icy runway caused by the snow and cold temperatures, though officials at the FAA said it was too soon to speculate on the cause. The snow and gusty winds grounded planes and forced the closure of Boston's Logan International Airport overnight, stranding hundreds of holiday travelers. High surf brought concerns of flooding along the coast to town officials in Revere. Those fears prompted the evacuation of elderly residents to area shelters. Meanwhile, in Boston, people dealt with snow and winds over 30 miles an hour. Coastal flooding was a major concern yesterday as the nor'easter moved along the coast. Fortunately, the fears of officials weren't borne out by the storm, with only minor flooding reported in most areas. In Chatham, the waves claimed a storage shed, but no homes were reported lost during the storm. So for most residents, flood problems were confined mainly to flooded basements. Sure, it's a cliche, but here's the proof. In Cleveland, someone around their daily rounds seeming to have little trouble with the snow. Others, however, weren't quite as fortunate. Cars stuck in the snow was a fairly common sight today around the city after recording a foot of snow over the past day in Boston. Ah, yes, signs of winter, which is coming up. I believe it's Friday. But you know, this date, back in 1986, a New England storm and Alberta Clipper strengthened off the coast, but not before 2.5 feet of snow fell in southern Vermont, 2 feet in western Mass, heavy rain, street flooding, trees down, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, 70-mile-an-hour winds on the coast. But this one, nothing to laugh at either, as we have a big area of 6 to 12 inches from Massachusetts, parts of Maine actually, back on into, the Cleveland. There's the white area, the 1 foot zone, and a lot of northern tier of Pennsylvania, the Catskills, 1 foot in the small area of New York, and even Stoneham, Massachusetts. New York's LaGuardia leading the pack, the White Apple, I guess so, with 14 inches, Islip 11 on the island, and Newark coming in with a hefty 9 inches of snow. So that's all metro New York, the tri-state, Connecticut, New Jersey, and New York. Whereas Pennsylvania, as you could see, the mountains coming in with over a foot, but too much ice and well, a little bit of freezing rain around Philadelphia and Wilmington for too much accumulations. There's Stoneham, Massachusetts, over a foot. Taunton 11, Boston 11, with a changeover back to snow later in the day, and even the Vineyard had 5 inches. As we see our low east of Martha's Vineyard now on the weather map, we'll see it well out to sea, and notice that it's, well, kind of out there, but you know, actually it's going to curl back toward Nova Scotia and maybe get closer to Maine, which should have some snow over the next maybe 36 to 48 hours. As we see that curling effect right now, kind of an S shape in the radar echoes as that snow backs on from New Brunswick into Maine. It's going to be a snowy night, just beginning to fire up the storm there and tapering off around New York City and northern New York State, whereas some snow coming down from a number of lakes in the Midwest. We see light snow scattered in the Adirondacks and even Pennsylvania now, and the snow more in Maine, and still Long Island getting a little piece of that snow as the Albany Capital District comes in with some snow showers. Boston, it's still twirling around near the pivot point of our upper level spin right now, so it's not going to quit there for a while.
FM, the classical network.
Be careful in that area. Princeton now has northbound Princeton Pike sluggish at Province Line Road. Icy conditions reported out there as well in Hamilton Township on Quaker Bridge Road, snowy and icy. Police are also telling us that I-95 and 295, still some icy spots out there and some snow, especially in the left lane.